Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
We start with new information on the murder investigation in the Northern Valley. Authorities have arrested a woman in connection to the shooting death of a teenage boy. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Schreier. 32-year-old Samantha Wilson is sitting in jail for suspicion of murder in connection to the death of a 15-year-old. Now, this all happened last night in Northwood, North Dakota, and Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley joins us live from the scene of the shooting with the very latest. Bailey, what do we know so far?
Jordan, police left the scene just about 30 minutes ago, and as of right now, there's a lot more questions here than there are answers. I've been up and down this neighborhood today trying to figure out what exactly happened last night, and neighbors don't really know either. They say they didn't hear any gunshots last night. They only heard the sirens responding around 9:30. They also tell me they don't really know who lives in this tan house behind me. They say that the people who live there are relatively new to the area, only living here about a year or so. The name Samantha Wilson did not ring any bells, and they also say they don't know who the victim is. Now, I've reached out to the area high schools around Northwood to see if there's going to be any sort of vigil for the 15-year-old victim tonight, or if there's any extra grief counselors for those classmates who are now grieving a fellow classmate they loved and knew very well. I'll keep you updated. For now, reporting live in Northwood, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
All right, thank you, Bailey, and we'll have more later tonight on Valley News Live and on the VNL News app. New for you at noon, a man is sitting in Stutsman County Jail on murder charges from California. The Eddy County Sheriff's Department says they arrested 39-year-old Demetrius Coleman yesterday at the Bison Lodge in New Rockford. Authorities set up a perimeter before they arrested Coleman, but the woman that he was with took off. She's also wanted in connection to that murder. Now, she is described as a Hispanic woman, about 5'2", and goes by the name Miriam or Alma Ahumada. Authorities say she isn't considered dangerous. If you have any information about her, call police. Taking that live look outside right now, it seems we just can't shake those clouds today. For what we can expect for the rest of our Monday forecast, let's head on over to Storm Team meteorologist Lisa Green.
Head into the afternoon, more gray skies, more areas of fog, more snow. We've been watching those flurries fly by in Fargo, and that of course means more reduced visibility in spots, and we're seeing visibility reports coming in low throughout eastern North Dakota. All of us seeing it reduced somewhat at least, and some of us even into Minnesota are down to less than 2 miles. Fosston and in Roseau with some issues with some icy patches on those roadways from the fog, and of course any of that snow that does accumulate will lead to some slick spots as well. So here's a look at your radar and satellite map. We've got overcast skies. The snow not showing up very well on the radar, but we know it's out there. We're seeing it. And temperatures that are into the teens. 14 degrees currently in Fargo, 12 in Grand Forks. Everybody just kind of holding steady in the teens right now. Gradually, we'll see some places rise into the low 20s this afternoon, but overall, just holding steady essentially here with the same conditions we've been dealing with for some time. We'll let you know when things might start to change for us coming up in the forecast in just a few minutes here.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Lisa. There's some good news today in the growing number of Americans diagnosed with coronavirus. The 2 samples from people possibly infected in Minnesota came back negative. However, the CDC has now confirmed a 5th case of the virus in the United States. The CDC confirmed 3 new cases on Sunday, one in Orange County, California, one in Los Angeles County, and another in Maricopa County, Arizona. 2 cases were previously confirmed, one in Everett, Washington, and another in Chicago. The 5 patients, all who had traveled recently to Wuhan, China, are in isolation at hospitals. We have new information on a story you first heard on the Valley today this morning. Fargo police have arrested a man in connection to a high-speed chase in a stolen vehicle. 26-year-old Joshua Evanoff is in jail for possession of a stolen vehicle and unrelated warrants. He was arrested later this morning after taking off from a Moorhead police at a gas station in a stolen vehicle. That started a high-speed chase that was eventually stopped for safety reasons. The stolen vehicle was also found. The Fargo Park Board is offering the executive director position to the man currently filling the role. Today, the board offered the job to Dave Leaker. He became the interim director in July after the director then suddenly resigned. Leaker has been with the district since 1999. The National Transportation Safety Board is starting the investigation into the helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant and his daughter, along with 7 others. The NTSB's investigation will look into everything from weather conditions to the helicopter's owner and operations. It may take a year or more for the board to announce the cause of that crash. The president's impeachment trial enters a pivotal second week. Today, his defense team is set to resume its case, but their job may have gotten harder amid new revelations from former National Security Advisor John Bolton overnight. Kristen Welker reports.
As President Trump's lawyers make the case for his acquittal,
the evidence is actually really overwhelming that the president did nothing wrong.
Overnight, an explosive new account from former National Security Advisor John Bolton that could undercut the president's case. As first reported by the New York Times, Bolton, in an unpublished book manuscript, writes President Trump told him last August he wanted to continue freezing nearly $400 million in military aid to Ukraine until Ukrainian officials announced investigations into the Bidens. But the president has argued his decision to withhold aid was not linked to those investigations. And in a late-night tweet thread, he slammed his former advisor, writing in part, "I never told John Bolton that the aid to Ukraine was tied to investigations into Democrats, including the Bidens. If John Bolton said this, it was only to sell a book." According to the New York Times, multiple people told them what was in the manuscript. They have not reviewed it. Neither has NBC News. Overnight, an aide to Bolton told NBC News the ambassador sent a draft of his manuscript to the White House for pre-publication review. The ambassador has not passed the manuscript to anyone else for review. Period. Overnight, House Democrats who are prosecuting the case against the president stepped up their calls for witnesses to testify, writing, "Americans know that a fair trial must include both the documents and witnesses blocked by the president. That starts with Mr. Bolton," after insisting earlier in the day.
If they're successful in depriving the country of a fair trial, there is no exoneration.
Democrats need at least 4 Republicans to vote with them in order to have witnesses testify. And for now, there is no indication they have the votes.
My gut tells me, and we're all kind of dealing with what we think is going to happen, that the case so far did not deliver the goods, the information to where anybody has changed their mind.
A vote on whether to hear witnesses and admit documents withheld by the White House could happen as soon as this week. In our consumer alert this afternoon, today marks the official start of tax season when the IRS will start accepting those 2019 returns. More than 150 million returns are expected to be processed this year. You have until April 15th to file your taxes, but to protect yourself from scammers, experts say it's best to file early. Once your return is accepted by the IRS, scammers won't be able to file a fraudulent return and take your refund.